For 30 years, Texas was warned it needed to winterize its electric grid. In 2011, after a huge ice storm, federal regulators wrote, many generators failed to adequately prepare for winter. They recommended Texas lawmakers mandate winterization. Still, lawmakers failed to act. Now let's fast forward to last February.
It's been miserable.
This is the largest train wreck in the history of deregulated electricity.
This,
my biggest concern is our next door neighbors,
is all it took to get lawmakers to act.
who are 90 and 93 years old.
Millions losing power, hundreds freezing to death, some inside their homes. The state's power grid coming just 4 minutes and 23 seconds away from cataclysmic failure, and billions in losses.
People are going to be paying the costs of last February's catastrophe for years, for many, many years into the future.
So what's actually happened since? New laws now mandate power plants winterize, and regulators have the power to impose big fines if they don't do it.
The legislature gave us a big hammer.
We recently sat down with Public Utility Chairman Peter Lake. Governor Greg Abbott appointed him to manage the overhaul of the grid and its operator, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT. I think the question that every Texan has, and I know you've been asked this probably by many other reporters, but will the lights stay on this winter?
Absolutely. We've made more reforms in a shorter amount of time than any other grid in the U.S. We have fundamentally changed the way ERCOT operates the grid.
Freezing rain was falling for hours last night.
2 weeks ago,
sleet and ice out here in McKinney.
The grid did perform well during a routine ice and snowstorm. Power plants were operating for the first time under a new PUC winterization rule, and ERCOT had plenty of reserve power.
The grid was ready for this event.
But
I don't even have gloves on right now.
what we just experienced was nowhere near
a good deal of melting this afternoon,
as severe nor as widespread as last year.
There have been some improvements made and we are better off. But I think the operative question is, are we better off enough that we wouldn't have outages if we had a repeat of the storm? And in my opinion, it's an emphatic no. We're not really close to that. We have a ways to go.
Since the new winterization rule went into effect, the PUCs began taking action on power generators who break it. 9 companies missed a winter readiness report filing deadline. The paperwork error alone cost them more than $14 million in fines.
We are considering each piece of infrastructure its own independent violation, and we're going to keep running the tab up until it's fixed.
ERCOT's also changed how they do business. Till now, making sure electricity was cheap was more important than it being reliable. Now officials say it's the opposite.
If ERCOT sees a hint of trouble on the horizon, a chance that there might be tight grid conditions, they bring on more generators sooner rather than later to ensure we have a reliable grid.
Even with power plants now being winterized, they still must have fuel to operate. For about half the power plants in Texas, that fuel is natural gas.
You're only as strong as your weakest link. And, winterizing power plants by itself is not enough.
Here's where this energy marriage gets messy. Unlike power plants, critical natural gas facilities won't be required to winterize until 2023. Thursday at 10, I'll walk you through weatherization inspection records that raise some serious questions. What is the winterization standard? And why do natural gas suppliers need to be held more accountable for what went wrong in February 2021?